was sitting in my house. Yes, ma'am. Radio? Colleen, can you cut the radio for me? Last week I was sitting on my couch preparing this Forever Young workshop, trying to figure out how to stay young and enjoy, what's that word, longevity. And my daughter comes over, my oldest daughter, and she shared with us that she was pregnant, so I'm actually going to be a grandfather. This is what getting old means. I'm happy to get there, right? So her and her husband are very excited, and that's our first grandbaby. So she's due in December, so lots of prayers there, right? So as we get started, turn to somebody, guys, that you do not know, and tell them something funny about yourself. Funny about yourself that you do not know. Make it all Alright, everybody get that out of our system? Very good? Good? Those of you like to talk a lot, I know that's your favorite part of the evening. You're still talking. You're still talking. Alright, good. Alright guys, so we do that to get the energy up a little bit, but like I say, for those of you that love to talk, that's the favorite part, that's your favorite part of the night, and you just won't shut up. For those of you like me that are actually introverts and don't like to talk, believe it or not, I'm scared of crowds. So for those of you that are like me and are introverts, that terrifies you when we do something like that. So guys, let's kick this thing off. So this is Forever Young. Over the course of this evening, we're going to teach you guys how to apply the 5 essentials that we teach in MaxLiving to keep you young and get you feeling young. All right. So when you, as you get older and as you age in this thing called life, you can do it gracefully and you can enjoy this thing called life. So our mission here is we want to empower longer, healthier lives through chiropractic care in the integration of the 5 essentials. All right. So this is the situation we're in right now. This says, this is from the National Academies Press. It says, despite the most health care spending, Americans are in the worst health, die earlier, and suffer from more diseases than any other wealthy nation or industrialized nation in the world. So while we take the most medications, we have the biggest, fanciest, expensive hospitals, the best supposedly health care, we're not going to argue that, but all these different things, and why are we dying so young in our country, and why is 95% of us die broke, alone in a nursing home? All right, it's not good. So when you look at the stats from that same article, it says this. It says from the U.S., we are dead last when it comes to infant mortality. All right, do you guys know what that is? That's infant death. So the United States, the most powerful country on the planet, we are dead last when it comes to having babies, surviving. You have a better chance of surviving somewhere else in the world than you do here in the United States for a newborn baby. Right? And that shocked me because I'm here about to be a new granddaddy. That's why I say pray for us, right? I did not know that, right? We have more injuries and more homicides than anybody else in the world. Our teenage pregnancy is the highest rate of anywhere else in the world. We have more STDs. We have more HIV than any other industrialized nation around the world. We have more people on disability in the United States than anywhere else in the world. We have more drug-related deaths, and these are legit prescribed medications that people either OD'd on or had an adverse side effect. There's more death from prescription drugs in the United States than anywhere else. Okay? We have a higher rate of obesity and the highest rate of type 2 diabetes. We have more heart disease than anywhere else in the world, which is the #1 killer in our country. And we have more chronic lung disease than anywhere else in the world. So clearly what we are doing is not working. Right? And yes, we're getting older in our country. We have a baby boomer generation, a lot of you guys coming through. And some of you are living longer, but are you actually living, or are you just getting by, doped up on medication all the time, right? And so we have to sort of stop that, and that's why we set out to do what we do. And so over the course of the evening, we're going to go through the 5 essentials and how they apply to you when it comes to living a long, joyful, and a prosperous life, hopefully. All right? So countries like Greece, I thought that was me. Tell them what I'm talking about, right? You got it? That's not awkward. All right. I'm just picking on you, man. Every time I do a workshop, somebody has a phone that goes off, so I put them on the spot. So that's a lesson. All right. So we have people like in Greece who live a lot like us, yet they, on average, they live 10 years longer than we do in the United States. And they have 50% less heart disease and 50% less cancer rates in Greece versus here that we have in the United States. And they live a life like us. So what's different between us and them, which we'll get to later, all right? That's Greece. We have Italy. Does anybody know what Italy is known for other than good wine and pasta? Anybody want to guess? Olive. Somebody said olive oil, yeah. You said olive oil. Italy is known to have the most men over 100 years old. So in Italy, there's more centenarian men than anywhere else in the world. So how come they can live to be over 100, the men, right? Not the women, but the men, and we're not doing that here in the States, right? Look at Japan. She says olive oil. Look at Japan. You guys know what Japan's known for?
The most women.
The most women. There you go. Maybe a Japanese and an Italian need to get together and have some good days, right? And in Japan, guys, especially Okinawa, they actually have the most centenarian women than anywhere else in the world. So what are these countries doing that we're not doing? So it's good to sort of model after what other cultures do, not just here in the United States. So we'll tie that in a little bit here. So the first thing we're going to start with is mindset. All right, guys? I want you guys to understand everything starts up here. All right? Your age is just a number. I know it's cliche. We've all heard that. My grandma was in her 90s when she passed away. And the week before she passed away, she was playing the piano, right? And having a good time, enjoying life. And the age was just a number, but she didn't look at his age. Some of us, you turn 50 years old, or some of you, when you turn 30 years old, you start crying, right? I know my wife, when she turned 30, which was 10 years ago, she's getting ready to turn 40. When I told you guys that. When she turned 30, she was crying on her birthday because guess what? She was turning 30. And guess what she did when she turned 40? She cried again. Actually, she just turned 40. She turned 40 in January. Right? And so, but it's just a number, guys. So don't let that mindset bring you down. Right? So when it comes to your mind, this guy Aristotle, you guys have heard of him. He's quoted as saying, "Happiness is a sort of action." All right. So what he's meaning here is your life should be made full of. True happiness is relationships. It's serving others. It's doing things other than just being happy and content with, say, something like this, whatever the case is. So just because you will not get happiness out of stuff is the bottom line. Does that make sense? So as you get older, you want to, obviously we'll get to this, but you want to volunteer, get active, build relationships, and have your happiness as a sort of an action statement, not just a feeling. All right? That's key number one there when you start to age. Laughter. There was a study done, let me make sure I tell you guys right, it was published in the Journal of Epidemiology, and they took 20,000 people and they compared the health of 20,000 people that were happy and laughed all the time and people that were miserable in life. And guess what? The people that laughed the most had 0 heart disease, no cancer, no diseases, and over this several-year study, 20,000 people, they proved that laughter is a form of medicine. The people that laugh the most and have the best time in life have better health, and they live a lot longer, right? And I could spend a whole hour talking about how your mind affects your cells and how your mind affects your health, right? And not to get too far into it, but guys, unforgiveness will kill you guys, right? Unforgiveness will cause cancer, heart disease. Unforgiveness will kill you quicker than anything else for those of you who've had a bad past. And we all have. Nobody's better than anybody else, right? We have to forgive others and be happy regardless of the cards we were dealt. Get involved. It says, according to the Journal of Applied Gerontology, it says individuals who volunteer have lower mortality rates than those who do not. All right? So for those of you who sit around and being bored all the time, you want to live a long life, volunteer. The best place you can volunteer is going to be your soup kitchens, your churches, the community centers. I mean, you need a purpose. What? Nursing homes. I mean, think about it. As you get older and you lose a loved one, for those of you that have been married for a very long time, you lose a spouse, and you lost your whole purpose. And so we start to age, and so what do we need? We need a new purpose. And so when you volunteer and you commit to something else, it's a lot better, right? It gives you a new purpose in life. The Corporation for National and Community Service states, it says states that have the highest volunteer rates are more likely to have a greater longevity and less incidence of heart disease. right? So the more active you are, the more times you volunteer, guess what? It's good for your health overall. It also says high daily activity is associated with a reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease, right? So guess what? When you don't use it, you what? You lose it, and you develop dementia and Alzheimer's disease, and that's one of the biggest fears of people all the time, right? As you get older, I hear it all the time. Doc, I'm losing my mind. What can you do for my mind, right? Well, stay active, read, learn something, do something different versus sitting around and watching the news all the time and cussing at the TV like my dad did. I have to defriend my father from Facebook. He's the most political person you ever meet. There's just his way or no way, right? I love him to death, but you know he gets excited on Facebook about the news. Got to filter my own dad. Anyways, that's a long story. All right, next essential, nutrition. All right, so when it comes to nutrition, guys, I want you to eat not for convenience or for comfort. All right, because in the South, a lot of us eat for comfort. My daughter works at one of my daughters works at Cracker Barrel, and that's nothing but comfort food, right? And I go in there all the time, and I see you guys. You just get these massive plates of food, and it's good old-fashioned comfort food, right? And so instead of eating for comfort, you need to eat for your well-being and eat to sustain the lifestyle you want to live, right? So if you want to live a long, healthy life, guess what? You got to eat like you want to live a long, healthy life. This is the thing with other cultures. You know, I said we'd compare what other cultures did that we didn't. Those three cultures I talked about, Greece, Japan, and Italy, their cultures, this thing called longevity, they actually eat real food over there. A lot of them grow their own food, believe it or not, right? The United States, guys, 80% of the food we eat in the United States is fake. It's processed. 80%. Can you believe that? 80% of the food we eat in our country is not even real food. And so only 20% of it is actually real food. When I was doing my research, those other countries, they said they actually had relationships with their food, right? And so the people in Greece and Italy, their culture for the seniors, and when we're saying seniors 55 years or older, that culture, what they do, other than big strong family ties, their daily activity consists of waking up early in the morning, working their garden or their yard throughout the day, eating a late lunch, and then spending time with their family and friends. And that's their life and their culture. And they're living to be over 100 years old, and here we are, just getting up late because we're too tired and we're eating fast food. We're going to Hardee's and we're hanging out with the guys at Hardee's, right? I see half of you guys at Hardee's on Saturday morning, right? And everybody's in Hardee's hanging out, getting a biscuit, seeing what happened last week down the road, but listening for all the gossip. But it's killing us, right? So the common theme these countries had was they had a better relationship with their food, right? They grew it, they ate it, they looked at it not just as something to keep them going, but just as something to sustain their healthy lifestyle. All right. So if we're talking about nutrition, we need to talk about our 2 nutrition programs. For those of you that have been a patient of mine for a long time, this is review for you. If you're new, this is fresh, all right? So when it comes to eating for healthy, long lives, and just to maintain your health, we recommend what we call our core plan. Because for those of you that have been around, you know we have a core plan and an advanced plan, right? So the core plan is more the plan that you should follow if you're trying to sustain the health that you currently have. All right? If you're happy where you are, the core plan is the place where you need to be. That's what you want to follow. It consists of eating more healthy fats and eliminating the damaged fats. All right? And as a quick review, good fats are going to be things like your avocados, nuts, oils like coconut oil, olive oil, things like that. Those are your good fats, okay? Eliminating the damaged fats are going to be like your fast foods and things like that. Okay? Somebody's calling me. Yeah.
It's me.
I'm a popular man.
The percentages.
The percentage, yes, good question. So when you're following the core plan or the advanced plan, we recommend between 60 to 70% fat. You like that? That's the good fat, though. 60% fat, all right? And there's a reason for that because you're tricking your body. You're becoming a fat burner, not a sugar burner, all right? So when it comes to protein, if you're on the core plan, and you're eating animal protein, make sure it's good. It's not processed. It's naturally. It's organic. It's grass-fed, not grain-fed. When it comes to protein, obviously, all right? And then when it comes to your carbs, Eat more vegetables, which is common sense. Eliminate the refined grains and all the sugars. All right? So obviously that's the core plan when it comes to living a long life. But if you're just sort of starting out, then you want to start on the advanced plan. Right? And this is what Stacy, when she first meets with you guys, a lot of times this is what she talks about. This is what our nutrition plan book tells you guys when you sign up for care. So again, the fat is the same. Eat more healthy fat and eliminate the damaged fats. Okay? With this type of plan, you want to moderate your intake of protein for most people. And the reason we say that is because some people, their body processes protein into a sugar, believe it or not. Now, it's not supposed to do that, but for some people, when it goes through the liver, it processes it actually into a sugar. And the advanced plan is all designed about getting rid of inflammation and cutting out sugar. So moderate your protein intake there. And when it comes to the carbs, you want to eliminate all the grains, including the good grains, like the whole grain bread and all that stuff. Stay away from all of it, right? When it comes to the advanced plan, just temporarily get your body where it needs to be. And we will also want you temporarily to eliminate your fruits, because the fruit is a sugar. And in order to get you from a sugar burner, which you are now, to a fat burner, so you can sustain life, we have to fix the hormone imbalance. So we say cut out all sugar, including fruit, temporarily. You can throw the fruit back in there once you get to your ideal health or weight or whatever that is for you. So that's really quick when it comes to nutrition. Any question on that before I move on? Because this is about aging, not so much nutrition. Anything? Pretty good? All right. So I get a lot of questions about multivitamins as you get older. Everybody will ask, well, what vitamins are you taking? Bring them in, let me look at them. Every single one of you guys takes Centrum Silver, all right, when it comes to aging. That is the worst multivitamin you can buy. All right, I'm just telling you. Right? Centrum Silver is the worst one on the market. It is the most popular one, but it's one of the worst ones. The second worst one is One A Day, the other popular one, right? Those two guys, yes, they have all the good stuff you need as you age and get older, but they're so full of so much junk, they're very acidic, and they're causing more problems than good. If you don't believe me, bring your bottle in here and I'll show you, I'll point out all the bad stuff on the back of it for you, okay? So when you're taking a men's or women's multi, make sure you're taking something that doesn't have a bunch of filler in it. Because the Centrum Silver and the One A Day and the GNCs, all the popular ones, one of the number one ingredients in a lot of those is soy and maltodextrin, which affects your hormones of soy, ladies, estrogen, cancer, hello, right? And number two is maltodextrin, which is pure sugar. So a lot of your One A Days and multivitamins are just pure sugar because maltodextrin is sugar. Exactly, because they're the popular ones. Even though your doctor tells you to take it because it's the popular one. Okay, that's why. Yeah, and sometimes they're pretty expensive too, so just stay away from them. So when it comes to multivitamins, we obviously recommend the MaxLiving ones, and it has all the good stuff in it, but if you turn around and look at the other ingredients, there is none. There's no other ingredients. Because it doesn't need any other ingredients, right? Because that's just junk and filler. So when it comes to taking multivitamins, make sure you're taking a good kind, and that's just our new label. But all of you guys are taking those because you're patients of mine already, so I just wanted to sort of point that out, all right? Next thing when it comes to aging, osteoporosis or osteopenia, which is the pre-osteoporosis, right? I always get lots of questions about this from some of you women as you get older, and your doctor says you're borderline osteoporotic or whatever you want to call it. And so the number one question is, should I drink milk? And the number one answer is no. Okay? Let me tell you why. Yes, milk has calcium and it's vitamin D and you think it's good for your bones. But what is milk? Does anybody know?
Sugar.
It's sugar. And sugar is acidic. What causes osteoporosis? Acidity in the body over a lifetime of not taking care of yourself. So when you're drinking lots of milk, yes, it's good for your bones, but it's very acidic and it's causing what? Osteoporosis. So the only reason you should drink milk is if you're drinking the full fat milk, because I want you to get the good fat out of it. That's it. There's nothing good in milk but fat. That's it. The good milk has good fat in it. 2% skim milk, all that other colored top other than the red is all bad for you. It's just like drinking pure sugar water. It's very, very acidic. There's no nutritional value in it whatsoever. Okay, so stay away from the milk. Calcium supplements or just calcium injections. Check this out. So I was seeing this. Did some research on this. So a lot of you ladies, the first time the doctor sees this stuff, he wants to give you an injection, right? You've all heard of that, the injection you get for osteoporosis. So I've picked up the two most popular ones out there, all right? It's called Reclass and Prolia are the two most prescribed osteoporotic medications out there. All right? And don't raise your hand if you're taking it because you're going to feel bad. All right? So, listen. So I printed off the 3 pages of side effects on these medications for the osteoporosis. All right? So the number one side effects for Prolia, which is the new osteoporosis medication, read that out loud. What does that say for the number one side effect?
Low calcium levels, especially in your kidneys.
So the number one side effect of the medication they give you to keep you from losing calcium in your bones, it reduces the calcium in your bones. It says it right there on their website, right? And it goes on to say it causes weakness, constipation, back pain, muscle pain, pain in the arms and legs, anemia, diarrhea, skin problems like eczema, feverish chills, night sweats, red and swollen skin, severe stomach and abdominal pain, ear pain or drainage damage, vertigo, frequent painful burning in your urination, pink and bloody urine. It goes on and on. Shortness of breath, flu-like symptoms, weight loss. It goes on and on and on. For a simple vaccine they gave you because you're worried about osteoporosis, right? And then the other one, Reclass. Okay? It pretty much has all the same stuff, but it actually has an extra page. This one's even worse. And this one is so bad, the FDA has actually made them and forces them to create a call center just for the side effects of this medication. Our Reclass Side Effects Drug Center provides a comprehensive view and available drug information on all the potential side effects when taking this medication. There's actually a 1-800 number you can call on this one to report the side effects. It's so bad, right? Because the FDA is making them do that. And yet this is the stuff, ladies, your doctor's trying to shoot in your hip or whatever they give it to you to keep you from getting osteoporosis, right? So stay away from that stuff, right? Not good. So the next thing you say, well, I'm going to take calcium. Yes, calcium's good for you, but guess what your body won't do? Absorb calcium without magnesium. So you go out there, you buy all this calcium from the doctors, from Sam's Club, Walmart, whatever, and you take all this calcium, and your body can't absorb it. And so you just pee it out or you poop it out. Because your body won't absorb calcium without magnesium. So if you should take calcium, don't get me wrong, for those of you that are worried about osteoporosis, but you have to take it with a magnesium. And it needs to be a 1-to-1 ratio, okay? So if you're taking calcium, you need something like CalMag, right? That's calcium and magnesium taken together, not just plain calcium, because you can't absorb just plain calcium, right? So if you want something like that, CalMag is what you need, not just plain calcium, right? And by all means, stay away from the prescription shots and things like that when it comes to osteoporosis. Cultures with longevity are not sedentary. I don't know if you guys heard my radio show last week, but I was talking about this stuff. And for the first 30 minutes of the show, instead of saying longevity, I was saying longevity. Right? I didn't realize it. My wife didn't realize it. My producer said about halfway through the show, he goes, Doc, you've been saying longevity versus longevity. And so he actually had to replace that. But I don't know if you noticed that when you heard the show last week or not. But anyways, that's my plug. All right? And if you're that English teacher that calls me or emails me all the time, I'm sorry. Is anybody here that teacher? I'm just saying, when I take all this off, I'm just a normal Southern farm boy, okay? And so my speech, when I get excited, my speech gets fast and I get tongue twisted and I don't have the proper language. And I have this English teacher that will call and leave us voicemails or emails, always correct me when I say something bad. It's like every week I'm terrified this lady's going to walk through my door and hit me with a paddle or something. I can just visualize it right up there. So, cultures with longevity are not sedentary. Sitting is taking years off your life, and there's been research that shows sitting a long time and with this bad posture, the more your head goes forward, it's called anterior head posture, they can literally track that with years of your life, and the more your head comes down, the less years of life you have. It increases mortality rates, which is death rates. And so for those of you that have this anterior head carriage, we got to get your head back up like this. So posture is very, very important when it comes to that, all right? So when it comes to fitness, we need to move, all right? And as you get older, I don't think you need to move and exercise and live in the gym to lose weight just to look good in a bathing suit or whatever the case is. I think you should stay active for a long, healthy life so you can sustain your years of life, right? Don't be so vain and say, well, I want to lose all this weight to look good because I want to lose some dress sizes. That's okay, don't get me wrong, but you should be doing it so you can sustain life and be around for your grandkids and your kids, right? Not just to look good in a bathing suit on the weekend or whatever the case is. Yeah, over 50. All right. In our culture, movement has become the exception rather than the norm. All right. Those other countries we just talked about, their day is spent outside, working in their gardens, walking through the neighborhoods, visiting all their friends. They're active every single day. In our country, we sit and do nothing but just sit and watch TV all the time, right? So we got to stay active. All right. So what I want to do right quick is break this up. So everybody stand up for me. Active, right? It's been a while since I did this. We're going to verse train, all right? Some of you said, oh no. All right, so guys, when it comes to being active, you don't have to join the gym or be there an hour. It just takes less than a minute of doing what we're getting ready to do, and you'll get the best shape of your life, right? So what I want to do is for the next, and we're not even going to go 30 seconds for you guys. I'm just going to do 20 seconds, all right, just to make it easy. So for the next 20 seconds, I just want you guys to, if you have good knees, I want you to run in place. If you have bad knees, I want you to sit and just wiggle your arms, all right? So there goes half the room. It's okay. All right, so for the next 20 seconds, I want you to move. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 20 seconds. Go at your own pace, guys. That's it. You're 10 seconds in. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, stop. Now breathe. Everybody breathe. We ain't done. Everybody breathe. So now we're just bringing our breath down for the next 20 seconds. That's all we're doing. It's very easy. All right, ready? We're going to start in 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. As fast as you can, not the neighbor, but as fast as you can, all right? You're just pushing yourself to your limits. All right, we got 15 seconds in. We got 5 more seconds or so. 3, 2, 1, stop. We're going to rest for 20 more seconds. Some of you, that's more exercise you've done all month. Okay. All right, we got 5 more seconds, and we'll explain this afterwards. 3, 2, 1, go. For the last 20 seconds. Good, good. Getting off the road. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. You sit down for me. You're over there like you're breakdancing. What is this? All right, so guys, that was just a minute of exercise, about a minute or so, right? 24, yeah, it was 60 seconds of exercise you guys did in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And that's all it takes. If you can do that here, you can do that at home 3 times a week is all I want you to do it. All right? You don't have to live in the gym or do it forever. Do what I just did with you guys 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you'll get in shape. You're going to feel a lot better from something that simple. All right? You don't need to join a gym or run on a treadmill forever. That works by burning your body's energy reserve off. So now for the next 24 to 48 hours, you have to burn your fat stores off to replenish your energy reserve. And that's how that exercise works there. So pretty simple, all right? So do that for a long, healthy lifestyle, all right? Now, let's talk about inflammation, because now everybody's hurting and breathing in. And your knees are hurting. All right? So the reason why inflammation is so important, guys, because the #1 killer in our country, which hits most seniors when it comes to getting older, is heart disease. Okay? That's the #1 killer, right? And cancer is #2, obviously, but #1 is heart disease, and it's caused by inflammation, not high cholesterol. All right? Quit believing the lie that high cholesterol is causing heart disease, because it's not. All right? You die of a heart attack or have a stroke because of inflammation. The reason why your cholesterol is high is because you have too much inflammation, right? So if we address the inflammation and bring it down, you'll bring your cholesterol down and you'll bring inflammation down with it, and thus you'll live a lot healthier, longer life. So the things that cause inflammation are both physical and chemical, all right? And emotional, all right? Physical is too much, is working too hard. Obviously, you guys are going to be sore from what you just did. That's physical inflammation there, right? chemical is going to be from the foods and the things we drink in our country, right? And the medicines, the medications we take cause inflammation, obviously, right? And then the third thing is the emotional part. So emotional stress causes what? Inflammation. For those of you that have high blood sugar, your blood sugar goes up when you get emotionally stressed. I don't know if you realize that or not, right? And so, because it affects hormones. So being emotionally stressed out causes lots of inflammation too. And when that happens, the result is heart disease, or aches and pains, which is the #1 killer in our country, heart disease. And so what we want to do as we get older is cut that inflammation down, all right? And you cut that inflammation down by #1, staying active so you don't hurt yourself when you do decide to go out and do something. But #2, cut out all the foods and things in your diet and your lifestyle that are causing inflammation. These are going to be your sugars, your breads, your starches, your carbs, all that other stuff like that, all right? So that's what cuts out inflammation. And then for those of you who like to take things to bring inflammation down, one of the best things that we offer is going to be the turmeric that's in here. This is Daily Defense. And the #1 ingredient in Daily Defense is turmeric, which comes from curcumin, which brings inflammation down. The best supplement you can buy when it comes to inflammation to get rid of aches and pains is something that has turmeric or curcumin in it, which is the turmeric comes from. All right? So that's why we recommend the Daily Defense, obviously, when it comes to inflammation. Really good for arthritis, joints, things like that. All right? Any other questions about inflammation before we jump to toxicity? Yes, ma'am.
Do you think that would be an inflammatory?
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. So there's a difference between that and inflammatome. So the inflammatome that we sell over here is meant to be taken like a Tylenol or Advil. So when you have a quick ache or pain, you pop an inflammatome. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the inflammatome actually also helps with breathing problems, it helps with asthma, it helps with digestion, inflammation, and bloating in your gut and everything else. So it's not just for the aches and pain for the inflammatome. But this is actually something you just take one a day, Carol. Okay, so you just take this one time a day, and that just keeps that turmeric in your system and whatnot. That way it brings the inflammation down over time, not just taking it as needed. All right? So those are the differences right there. Any other questions about the inflammation? Nope? Good. All right. So next thing is toxicity. Cultures that live a long time have less exposure to toxins. All right? Here in the United States, in the past few decades, we have more than 100,000 new chemicals have been introduced in our bodies, homes, and environments. Right? And this was actually back in 2014, so it's been around a long time. And so the problem is, all this stuff right here, especially ladies, that we put on us and we use and we eat and we use as our household cleaning products, that is where you're getting all the toxins from. All right? So, #1 thing we need to do is isolate these and get rid of these when it comes to toxins. I thought you raised your hand, man. You're good? No. Oh, all right. So this is the thing. So our toxicity is obviously in our food from preservatives, right? In fake food, I said 80% of our diet is what? It's fake, right? Processed. So there's where the toxins are there, obviously, right? The water. Bottled water is great, and you should drink about 7 of these a day, just FYI, right? If you're drinking water, that's about a gallon. And so, but the problem is when we drink tap water or regular water, when we go out to a restaurant, the poured water, which comes from their tap, it has all the residual stuff left that was flushed down the drains. And it's also full of what? Does anybody know?
Chlorine.
Chlorine, right? And so when you drink tap water or faucet water, it's full of chlorine because the water people, you know, kill all the bugs or the germs with chlorine. And then you drink that. And you know, you guys know what chlorine does to oxygen in the body? It kills it. It gobbles it up, right? And so when you drink lots of water that's tap water, what happens when it gets into your muscles, and you need the water, don't get me wrong, but when it gets into your muscles, it forces all the oxygen out of your muscles or your blood, right? And therefore you have a harder time, your muscles have a harder time because there's not enough oxygen in there, right? And so just think about it. If you're ever around a pool or a bucket of chlorine or pool chemicals or Clorox or anything else, smell it. It takes your breath away because what it does is it forces all the oxygen out of the environment. And so when you drink lots of water that has lots of Clorox in it or chlorine, you kill all the oxygen in your system. And when you kill all the oxygen in your system, it becomes a breeding ground for what? Does anybody know? Cancer. Because cancer cannot survive in an oxygenated environment. It thrives in a deoxygenated environment. So you got to have plenty of oxygen. That's why that burst training you guys just did right there, had you breathing heavy, I'm putting lots of oxygen in there. All right, that's #1. Personal care products. All that pretty stuff you put on your bodies and your hair and your lotions and your potions and your oils and all that stuff, right? Guess what? It's full of toxins. And guess what? Guess what happens when you put it on? When you put the lotion on your skin, ladies, guess what it does? It goes right into your skin, into your bloodstream, right? When you use that $100 bottle of shampoo or whatever the case is, it smells great, right? Or what do you call that stuff that you put in your hair after the shampoo?
Conditioner.
I don't know. I use a bar of soap that's homemade. That's all I use. And so, seriously, my wife makes soap, and I just have a bar of soap. It does everything. One bar of soap. And so when you put that conditioner and shampoo in your hair, it sucks right into your brain. Think about it, right? Sodium lauryl sulfate, one of the biggest cancer-causing things in the country, is in every type of soap, and anything that suds has sodium lauryl sulfate in it, right? And guess what? That's one of the #1 causes of cancer, and we put it on our bodies every single day. It doesn't make any sense. Toothpaste. You're brushing your teeth. It gets all foamy. Guess what happens? You're sucking all that in that way, right? Your in-home air quality. So when, like my oldest daughter, the one that's pregnant, they're actually in the process of building a new house. But guess what? When they move in their new house, guess what it's going to smell like? Chemicals, right? The carpet, the drywall, all the fire retardant stuff they have to put in the walls when you build a house because the code's now. And so you're going into these environments. Your house is 100 times more toxic, or this office in here is 100 times more toxic than the outside air, right? Unfortunately, that's how it is. And so when you just got to get rid of these toxins, right? And that's why we always say, hey, take a detox. That's why we put you guys on detox when you started, right? Yes,
you
ma'am.
talked about tap water. What if you have a well? Do you have to have it tested to see if
Yeah, that's up to you. No, well water's a heck of a lot better. I grew up on well area, so that's a heck of a lot better than regular water. And if you do have tap water and you don't have a well like you guys do, get you a house filter, guys, and you don't need to spend $2,000 on a house filter, right? I got mine at Lowe's for like $69. It's the 9 or 11-inch small tube one, and you stick it on your main line going into your house, under your house, whatever the case is, and it filters my whole entire house, and it cost me $69 for the initial setup, and it's like $20 every 3 months to replace the filters, right? So you don't need a $1,000 house filter.
Does it take chlorine out?
It takes chlorine out, yes ma'am. Go to Lowe's or Home Depot. Yeah.
What kind of bottled water do you suggest?
Bottled water. Here in the office, you guys will see me drinking Kirkland because it's cheap. Okay? Because I drink a gallon a day, 7 of these back here are stacked all over the office. At home, I actually drink whatever that Publix one is. It's blue.
Purified.
What's it called?
Is that purified?
is it purified or the spring? Because you had me take spring on the trip.
Yeah, maybe that's what it's in a blue bottle. I can't remember because my wife does the grocery shopping. But that's the one I like the best. But it's more expensive, so I don't drink it in here because it costs me a fortune drinking 7 of those a day. This is like Kirkland's. It's like, what, $3 for 48 of them or something like that? So this is fine. Any type of bottled water care is going to be better than tap water, obviously, okay?
What about cooking?
Cooking? Well, when you cook things, it's going to boil it, so you're killing all the bad stuff in it anyways. And it's going to, any type of chlorine and gas and things like that, it's going to leave it as soon as it gets steamed or heat. So that, yes, it obviously is good. It's okay to boil with anything, any type of oil. It's going to kill everything in it, including the chlorine. To get rid of the chlorine gas when you heat it up, when it steams out.
So when you heat out, is it better to drink tea because it's been boiled than just
Good question.
Unsweet tea.
Unsweet tea. Especially in the South. That's what we do. I'm from upstate New York. When I go home, I order unsweet tea, and guess what? They look at me like I'm crazy. No, I order sweet tea. I order sweet tea. Yeah. When I go home, I try to order some sweet tea up there one time, and they're like, "What's sweet tea? We don't sell sweet tea. Here's some sugar." Up north, they don't have sweet tea. It's a southern thing. It's comfort food. All right. Good deal. All right. Anything else about toxicity before we move on to the next thing? Nope. All right. So when it comes to longevity, the core to everything we teach you guys is obviously chiropractic. All right. And there's a reason for that. There's studies and research that shows that people that are on regular chiropractic maintenance, not so much those of you that are here new that come all the time initially, but for those of you that do chiropractic care long term, like come once every couple of weeks or on maintenance, like 90% of my room in here, you guys are on maintenance care, so thank you very much for that. Like a lot of you guys stick around a long time. For those people that are on regular maintenance care, studies have shown that you guys have 85% less hospital visits for people that get adjusted on a regular basis. And 85% hospital visits equates into 85% pharmaceutical costs and 85% less spent on your medical bills, and you have a lot longer, healthier life. And so look at chiropractic as an investment to yourself, not just something to get out of a quick ache or pain or anything like that. All right? And this is why, guys, because when you get adjusted, not just for the aches or pains, but God designed you perfect. And you hear me say this all the time. Every cell, muscle, organ, tissue in your body is controlled by your brain and your nervous system that runs down through here, and it comes off that spine. And so if there's any subluxation or misalignments there, yes, it causes you the aches and pains a lot of you guys come to me from, but it also puts pressure on these nerves that control all this stuff. So the biggest key to living a long, healthy life is making sure your body's healthy on the inside, right? I always say the root word of health is heal, H-E-A-L, not P-I-L-L, right? So the pills aren't going to keep you a long, healthy life at all. But if your body's functioning and healing on a regular basis, like science proves now, then you can live a long, healthy life that way. So that's number one. Nutrition's important, supplements important, don't get me wrong. But if that's all you do and you don't fix how God designed the rest of the body, you're just doing this, right? You're running on that wheel, spending all that money, not getting anywhere, right? You still have the same problems because you're not doing your rehabs, you're not showing up, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So these are warning signs. For those of you that still have subluxation, as we call it, headaches, menstrual problems, high blood pressure, depression, insomnia, sciatica, neck pain, dizziness, fatigue, acid reflux, numbness and tingling, asthma. So all these symptoms are actually things that are controlled by your nervous system. All right? Those are the most common things. And a lot of you still have those, and that's okay. You're in your journey. But the goal is to fix all this stuff so when you do get up in those years, or maybe you're already up in those years, you can live a long, healthy life and not need those bucket of pills. All right? So the action plan, what to do in review, so I can get you guys out of here on time. This is what we talked about, and this is the action plan. Number one, laugh more. Right? Remember the study? Laugh more. Number two, volunteer. Stay active. All right? Number three, stay active. Eat for longevity, right? Not for comfort. Right? Take the proper supplements and vitamins if you need to, right? If that's your thing, right? I think the package we have tonight is about 15% off, girls. So if you want to take the supplements we just talked about, they're on the front page. You get that package, it's like 15% off. If not, everything else is 10% off. So take the proper supplements and vitamins you need to sustain a healthy lifestyle. And the most important thing, guys, is get adjusted, right? Because if you're not getting adjusted, all the other stuff, you're just peeing out the toilet. You're not absorbing it, your body's not working, your filters aren't working, you still have those aches and pains, and you still wake up miserable every single day, all right? So that's what I have for you guys tonight. Any other questions about anything?
Right.
That was pretty easy.
There we go.
All right. Thank you for your time. Good deal.